Welcome back to the Blue North. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the hypocrisy that is showing its ugly head when it comes to Whoopi Goldberg versus, say, Sharon Osbourne or Roseanne Barr. Now, I'm not defending Roseanne Barr. If you're going to say racist or, hateful things about someone based basically on the skin color, then yeah, you should lose your job. You shouldn't be allowed to just have free access to people if you're going to speak in that way. I just think that's common sense. Sharon Osbourne, however, Sharon simply defended her friend, and Piers Morgan had not said anything racist. He just simply criticized the British monarch, Prince Harry, and his wife for their behavior. And that's allowed. So, unfortunately, the left does not think so, and therefore attacked Piers. And then anyone defending Piers was fair game to be attacked as well. And unfortunately for Sharon Osbourne, it cost her job. Now, it shouldn't have. Whoopi has decided that she wants to go on her talk show, and I mean, certain aspect, you should be allowed to opine about things that are topics of the day or anything, really. You should be able to talk about things, and you should be able to give your opinion. But when your opinion is borderline hateful or anti-Semitic in its nature, then yeah, you're going to have pushback. And in this case, Whoopi said that the Holocaust was not race-based, where it very, very was. In all actuality, the Holocaust was the, isolating of the Jewish people in Germany, relocating them to concentration camps, and in many cases, in 6 million cases, they were put to death, and based solely on the fact that they were Jewish. Men, women, and children were not spared. They were annihilated based just on their being Jewish. And for Whoopi to go on her show and to be talking about it and everything else is wrong, and she should be held to account. But she's being held to the left's account. See, now, if that was a conservative, they would have been fired on the spot, not given a chance to have a suspension and think about what they had said. They would simply be removed from the show. They would be outcast, and they would be condemned, to ever have a public platform again. Whereas someone on the left, like Whoopi, she's being given a couple of days. Think about what you said that was awful, and maybe we'll do this virtue signaling, and then you'll be back to your show and back to your hateful ways in no time. And that's the hypocrisy that needs to go away. That's the hypocrisy that needs to be addressed, and they need to hold both sides to the same account. They need to hold Whoopi to the same level that they would hold Sharon Osbourne. I'm not going to say Roseanne Barr, because Roseanne got what she had coming. You want to say awful things, then you should no longer be allowed to be, have that platform. So, but Whoopi is being given a free pass. If she isn't fired in the next couple of days, she's going to set a precedent that you are allowed to say whatever you want, no matter how hateful. But that precedent is being bolstered right now because Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib are constantly in front of the camera, constantly in front of the microphone, and they are constantly giving their opinion about how the Jewish state is an apartheid state, and how they need to be boycotted, and how they're an awful, hateful people, and anti-Semitism is living large in the Democrat Party, which is kind of funny because they're trying to paint the Republicans as this hate-mongering, racist party, and anyone following it is hateful and racist. If you do not vote for Joe Biden or the Democrats, then you are a racist. And the CNN is there bolstering all of that, with Don Lemon really echoing that same mindset that all 74 million voters for Donald Trump in the last election were tolerant of the KKK. Well, hate is alive and well in the Democrat Party. It is there. Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib are the biggest voices of hate in the party right now. Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton have in the past said how much they love and admire Robert Byrd, who's passed away now, but who was a KKK member. He didn't have a chapter to, go and celebrate his hate when he moved to Washington, so he simply started his own. Hatred is alive and well in the Democrat Party. I hate to tell you. There's example after example. And the news agency, I guess, it's hate to even call them that, CNN, is right now promoting, it's just falling apart at the seams at CNN. There's no other way to say it. It's a depraved bunch. I think like-minded people get together and they have congregated at CNN. You have Zucker at the top, who had to step down for his behavior. You have Cuomo, who's fired for his behavior. Don Lemon is still there preaching his hatred. You have multiple producers that are under investigation for child endangerment and child porn. It's just, you have Tubin over there, who was caught masturbating on a Zoom call or with colleagues, and he's back. So really, there's nothing that's too far for CNN to have work for them, I guess. It's just, that's where, and they're promoting their version, their narrative. They're giving their version of the truth to America. And these misinformed people are running around getting in the faces of conservatives and people that just don't agree with them. And they're just being angry and saying like these things that aren't even true. Like multiple cases, like Nick Sandman, they botched that. But the thing is, they have the evidence. They have the video. Like Nick Sandman, that evidence was there. The video was very clear that he was the one behaving himself, especially at it, the two of them, him and Nathan Phillips with the drum, the native protester with the drum right beside his ear. So one was an adult, one was a child. The adult decided that he'd get a rise and some sort of reaction out of this mega hat wearing teenager, and it didn't work. And then he was given a platform to speak by CNN, and they ran the narrative without showing the full video, and tried to ruin a high school kid, tried to ruin his life that didn't need to happen. But it fit their narrative to do that. So they had to, and that kid, no matter how young, was not spared. He was thrown under the bus to try to run a narrative that didn't exist. And that's time and time again what CNN is doing. And I feel like that's what is happening with the celebrity world. They forget that we make them celebrities. Everyday American and everyday Canadian, everyday British and France, and the people make the celebrities. Wayne Gretzky is probably one of the most respected and loved hockey players in Canada, but we make him that way. He's not just naturally that way. We make him the hero, the celebrity that he is. And he conducts himself in such a manner that is deserving of our respect. That's why he has it. The people I find on the left, some of these celebrities like Whoopi and Joy Behar, they forget that you're not born a celebrity, that you've done something that people have escalated you to that position. And if you're not going to continue to act in a way deserving of that, then you should no longer be there. And that's what happened to Roseanne Barr. And I find that that's where we have to go with the left a little bit more. They are not really understanding that we put them there. We put them on that pedestal and make them celebrities. And if they're going to behave in such a way that they are not deserving of that, then they need to be removed from there. And perhaps after they've learned a lesson by being knocked down a rung or two, then maybe they can come forward and say, you know what, I was kind of wrong there. I was really, and I was way out of line. And even though Whoopi's doing it right now, that it doesn't even have the same, because she went on late night there and defended herself. So I just find that the left is so far off from where they have to be or should be or want to be. And I just think that until this cancel culture goes away and the left holds its own to the same accord as an account as they do the ones on the right, this world is never going to come together. It is never going to be anywhere close to unity, because one side's being allowed to do and say whatever they want without even proof or without even having regard for human decency, and the other is being silenced even if they have an opinion or if they want to talk about a subject, and it's not even in a hateful way. So we're silencing one side and we're giving the other carte blanche on being able to do and say whatever they want. And it's very difficult to talk to people or our children and get them to understand what's going on. And we're really on a wrong path in life right now. And until we can bring this back to where both sides are being held accountable for what they do and say, we're going to be in really bad shape. So hopefully leading into the 2024 election, we don't see, it doesn't get worse, but I can't see it getting any better until we get someone new in the White House to start. Lion Joe there talking about all these different stories that just none of them seem to be true. The Amtrak story, the drove an 18-wheeler, the house burnt down with Jill in it, turned out just never drove a truck. The Amway operator he was talking about was dead before he was even in office as vice president. And the house didn't burn down with Jill in it because Jill would be dead. So unless she's fireproof, maybe Joe thinks she's fireproof, but it was a small kitchen fire. So the house burnt down with Jill in it. It's just the left is being allowed to say the dumbest things, and really, I'd be embarrassed. But it's just until we get a new example, and maybe Trump isn't the one that needs to be in the White House, but we definitely need somebody in there that's going to not lie and behave like Biden and Harris. Not even going to get on that subject right now, but we need to start setting new examples for our kids, because what are we going to get in the future if our children are witnessing this and seeing one side get away with everything and the other being held very, very accountable? It's what the left wants, really. They want these kids to be on the left and to support what they're doing and what they're saying, because they're really trying to silence the right and they're trying to eradicate it. And Joe Biden even said it once. He said, when he was asked about running in 2024, he said, I don't even know if the Republican Party is going to be around in 2024, because the agenda of the left is to silence the right, and that's terrifying. But I'm going to stay on it. I'm going to stay focused on especially the Whoopi situation, and I'm going to be following along, and hopefully there isn't so many examples of hypocrisy, but I'm going to be on it right here at the Blue North.